and now you're dealing with SMEs. What sort of are the difference in HR issues between SMEs and large organizations?
Okay. There are more dynamics and more changes in the smaller company. So when you grow until 50 and above, likelihood you already found your cash cow. There's one thing, single thing, at least one thing that's generating the money for the entire boat to move on. So then you can actually spend some time on and have some of the, you can start building redundancy. You would likely, because of building redundancy, you're likely to face bureaucracy issues. That's the time that you want to actually start sorting it out. Yeah. But in a small company, the tricky part is a lot of companies is trying to find their cash cow still. And they are trying to grow, they earn a little money here, they earn a little bit of money there, and then reach until they hit one big cash cow, then they can become a solid business and move on. So that the people's scope actually change all the time.
The M1 issue that you are raising, a lot of SMEs are a bit hesitant to build up M1 because potentially you're creating...
After I train you, you'll go off already, right?
So how does that get handled in terms of sort of growth?
So actually, lots of big companies also have that issues, right? So if I train and then the people will go. You know what happened in Microsoft in China is Microsoft have a tradition that they always hire fresh graduates and then build them out. So some people stay for 20 years, but a lot of people move on. People like Tencent, Baidu, Alibaba, they always irate at the 2 to 3 years experience at Microsoft staff. After you finish training, I just grab and reduce. So it's very common, even in corporate, not only in SME. It's just that when you think about it, do you want to actually improve the entire company as a whole? If you want to, then you have to dedicate resources to build up your people. Some may go, some may stay, and even people who go, whatever they contributed, they build out a structure inside your company. That's the legacy that stays with the company. So eventually that still help the company.
Okay, well that's a good question because okay, connect back to our today's topic, right? We are talking about managing people, branding, you have customer relationship management, all these different departments. And well, maybe it's just what I say, but to my observation, it seems that marketing, branding has been moving quite fast, you see, advancing quite fast, modernization and things like that. And in terms of people management, I think it's what you shared to me before as well. I mean, it seems that people management, a lot of SMEs are still managing people in the traditional way, or like you say, like why we are still managing people like the industrial age, like 40 years ago, right? But I mean, I guess my question is like, do you see any problem with the olden way or the traditional ways of people management?
Okay, actually,
first of all, what do you mean the older way of management?
Well, the older way means that, okay, I mean, top down, right? So I think there are a lot of different instances, like top down, for example, the boss says this and then you just follow this, what you do, the task, right? Compared to what people define as the modern way, as in like a flat structure, less bureaucracy and flat hierarchy, right? I mean, that's one instance.
I think I may not be able to directly answer you, but I probably take the questions from another approach.
Okay.
First of all, I would actually not define in the old way as top-down approach.
Okay.
Because they are modern companies also having top-down approach as well.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
But a lot of people or a lot of us are forced to move from top-down to bottoms up. It's because people's expectation, the new employees are very different already. So they are willing to contribute more. But on the other hand, I'm not saying top-down approach is not new. I'm still seeing a lot of companies that's very successful with top-down. Because particularly when you are deciding to pivot your business, you need to point out direction, captain the whole boat running towards that. So that still plays a role. I would say the biggest change from SMEs is that a lot of influencing was moving from corporate now to SMEs. Why do we say so? Because in the old days, only corporate has resources to look at the HR, right? Today, when we talk about HR manager, if you do not have 30 people and above, likelihood you do not even have a specific dedicated HR person. Agree? 10 people size, 15 people size, maybe no HR yet, right? But the thing is, the big corporate has that. So during the old days, SME is just that I try to run whatever as I can. So I build this up from scratch and then move on. Until one day I actually become a bigger corporate, I can hire more people, I hired people with industrial experience and start building this up again, right? Today, that time, this is very distinct. Today, we get rich because first, advancement of technology. Okay, now the price to adopt technology is getting cheaper and cheaper. You're talking about monthly subscription, yearly subscription. You're talking about try first until I fully committed. It's not like I go and buy a software license, come back and I can't go already. Yes. Right? So things like that happens whereby people are having iPhone, Android. The bar of people using the technology is getting higher. All right. So people start adopting technology. When we talk about business continuity just now, last time only big companies talk about business continuity, right? Where got SME talk about business continuity, right? Now we are talking about, yes, you deserve the business continuity also, right? So now the price is affordable for SMEs already for those things. So that's the first change. The second change is the information flow. Today we read, it's much more easier to get the information you want anytime, anywhere, and there's more information than you can absorb actually. Last time we read Harvard Business Review, we subscribe to certain magazines like that, so that we get ourselves updated. No. Since 10 years ago, you have all those feeds every morning. I'm actually just getting through the feeds that comes from different websites. So because of technology, that's more information actually build up the different mindsets that everyone sees things differently.
Now, maybe I would like to stop a bit here. I mean, this is something interesting because I know a lot of HR, they have been talking about managing this new millennium, or even we call it Gen Y, or some people call it digital employees, digital natives, where these employees, they are very, because the year they are born, right? So they are very savvy in terms of handling technology. And some HR was saying that, okay, well, it's also technology that changed their behavior. For example, people say that because of technology, nowadays these digital natives or digital employees, they have short attention span. Alright? They don't read a lot, they only read the first few headlines and that's it, right? So what do you see? I mean, how do you see HR align, or what are the different strategies that HR has been using it to align to this and manage these digital employees?
So that's a good observation. Actually, if you look at it, it also forced HRs or business owner, which is the biggest HR of the company, to upgrade themselves, right? Yeah. So from the communication, when we call the old days, is I'm an HR, I build a 5-pager legal documents and I post it on the wall, right? So this is the requirement. You go ahead and read all this 5 pages thing. So today, if you want to do it in a more modern way, what you will probably do is summarize that in 2-3 sentences. Yes. Right? Yep. And then if you need it, and then you go in and check which part of which section, which part of which section. Because of that kind of attention span.
So do you see
it change your way of communication, it change your way of transferring, conveying messages with different technologies.
Well, then on the other hand, this is on the employee side, right? I mean, the mindset, the behavioral change, right? But I also observed that there are certain areas where technology actually even evolved how we work. For example, we call it digital workplace or flexible workplace nowadays, where, I mean, certain companies nowadays, they might not have a physical office or just a small physical office, and then they work remotely across the country or even different countries, right? So
you are talking about managing talents, right?
sorry?
You are talking about managing talents, right?
Not just managing talents. I mean, this is something we call, some people call it distributed workplace or flexible workplace and things like that. I guess my question is like, well, in a sense that, well, personally, I'm kind of promoting this because, well, I'm not that old, I'm around this and actually what I always believe is like, if we are allowed, if we can work remotely, we solve the HR issue or like, we don't have to hire this locally, but we can open to other areas. But then there are also concerns saying like, how do we manage these people? How about KPIs? I mean, we don't see them every day, right? Do they really work? How do we manage them? I mean, how do you see HR evolve into that particular aspect?
This is also a good question, whereby working remotely was a topic a couple of years ago, and actually recently it's an interesting part that IBM announced that they discourage remote working place.
Oh, really?
They were pushing for remote workplace. They were the pioneer of doing that. Last year they announced that they start stopping remote workplace and they start discouraging it. Okay, this is the interesting part. When you have people remote, okay, the tricky part is there's a whole lot of work actually needs to be conducted behind it. So you save up your office space, fine, you have all hot desks and all those things. But on the other hand, how do you manage the communication cadence? Do you have daily meeting? Daily sync up? Well, there was a daily meeting, there's a lot, right? Okay, do you have weekly meetings? How do you communicate with managers one-on-one? What if the person is really disengaged?
Or missing in action?
Yes, missing in action. So communication is the first issue that you need to address, right? So the second thing is the team cultures, the team dynamics. If you work in a team inside one office, you probably realize there's a lot of small talks in the pantry part or the lunchtime, dinner time that actually kind of like form up your team to get together, right? And then they all talk about same topic, work related, non-work related. The most common one is they start swearing the bosses, right? Common, right? I got that all the time. So that's the part that remote working doesn't help that. It doesn't give people a kind of like the feeling that they are actually inside a team. So that's another tricky thing. So my personal take is this. It really depends on your business model maybe. One of the most successful remote working company is called GitHub. The engineers may know that.
So source GitHub?
Yeah, yes. So what they do is they make a tool and community for software engineers. So the customer is software engineers. Alright? So their staff is actually remote, almost all. So what happened is they are software engineers. They only need to have a conference call to sync up, and then after that they assign some work, everyone go back and do work, right? And then after they do work, the whole software is sold, the system and services is sold to the similar type of people, which is software engineer as well. The software engineer comes to GitHub and then they sell on board. They pay the money, they sell on board, they start using it themselves. So there's very minimal customer interaction if you look at it that way, right? So that business model works very well on the remote. But maybe when you look at the different business model, if you are very strong sales driven or inbound sales driven, you may want to set up an environment that they are packed here. They have small rooms for them to make customers call, and every hour they sync up again in the one small table, reporting their numbers, and then they go there and over. Right? I've been told that, for example, in UK there's an accounting firm. That's how they do it. Because like the whole sales team go and talk to their customers, whatever. Every hour come back to the same table, sync up the numbers, and then after that go out to the work again. That kind of army-like thing. So it depends what kind of operations and culture you want to build inside your company. Then you determine whether you want to do remote or not.
So I guess the takeaway is that it depends on the business model,
depends on the business model, depends on the role, and depends on the culture you're building.
Okay, I think that's a good answer. Before that, any questions from the floor?
Any skews that you're seeing in terms of type of industry which is more open to taking up this kind of kaki tangan services and stuff? Within SMEs, is there like
within SMEs, what kind of companies that's more likely to take up kaki tangan? Today, we are very strong at office space. So we do have the manufacturing and F&B, but the office space actually take up the most as at today.
So is it like professional services or what kind of?
Yeah, they also marketing firm, educations. There are tadicals, there are different types of companies.
Business.
Sorry?
Different type of business.
Different type of business, office-based more.
Yeah.
So they have lesser issues that they say I have a lorry driver or tea lady that I cannot bring. So at most they are having lorry driver and tea lady. But on the factory, then we are talking about the employees doesn't really get the payslip. They really need a paper payslip, and that's very different environments.
One more question from Jen.
I just wanted to understand is that are we talking about the talent management or are we talking about the people management? Yeah, is there any difference between talent management and people management? And then second thing is that what I understand, from Mr. Evan's presentation is you are turning the operational issue, which is manual paperwork, into digital. But I think these are things that since 20 years ago when internet is introduced, since 1995 in Malaysia. Year Y2K, I think a lot of companies already invested a lot of money turning on and go into digital. So, but yet today, after 18 years since Y2K till now, are we still facing that problem? Are we still facing that problem? And I just wanted to know why already 18 years since the Y2K time.
Okay. So the first question is talent management versus people management. Personally, I think all people are talent, right? If they are not the right people, I should not hire. Of course, if I make a hiring mistakes, I need to fix my organization. So supposedly, all the people are like talent. So that's how I see it. And secondly, when you look at it, this is also a very fun part. Payroll calculating is not new, right? A long time ago, so got already. But the thing is, why is it important today? Or why do we have a strong need of automating it? It's because, of course, first, it's getting more and more complicated. Second, compliance issue. More and more complicated, that's compliance issue. But second, people are really looking for a better way of managing their people operations. So that's the second part. And more importantly, more and more people really think about this today. Employee engagement, employee motivation. From big companies to small companies. That's what we are saying, right? Last time, only big companies talk about all this thing. Now, this era, as a smaller company, we are okay to start. And in fact, we want to start talking about these things. Then we realize, shit, what is blocking us to actually spend more time on employee engagement and employee motivation? Then we look at, okay, still the people operation and administrative stuff. Still the same thing, right? That's why the encouragement is really if you look at it, do not think that your payroll or leave is the most important thing. You should just automate it, make it fast. 1 month, spend 30 minutes on your payroll, that's it. The rest of your time, spend in these 2 things. That will add value to the company and grow.
Not only that, and also develop skill set.
Just one question. Do you interview the bosses of the company about what is their KPI?
About what is their KPI? Well, to be frank and honest, I did. But because when every bosses, when they start a business or at different stage, they have different goal. Different priorities, different goal. Smaller companies, I need to build on my revenue. Bigger companies, I need to make sure my team is sustainable and things like that. But one thing that's across everyone the same, it should be, I want to build a great company.
Great team.
I want to build a great team. I want to build a great company. I want to build something that I'm happy with, I feel proud with. That's among all the business owners, right? So because of that, if you really want to achieve that goal, then you should start spending time on employee engagement and also performance.
So I think if you look from a broader perspective, right? I mean, employee engagement, employee performance is one of the areas in terms of people management. But because I think my area is more on the digital transformation part, I see a lot of digital transformation in marketing, in management, and also in process automation. And now we are talking about people management. And there are now a lot of people are talking, okay, digital transformation in HR, digitalizing HR strategy. So it means that it's not just about managing people, but it's also like recruiting, management, up to retaining. I guess today, because we are all SMEs here, right? And we kind of like, okay, this sounds good. I mean, embarking on digital strategy on like recruitment, management, and retaining as well, right? But it sounds scary as well because like it's a new way. For example, I'm talking about recruitment. The old ways of recruitment, posting a job ads, either paper job ads or even online job ads. Now talking about going to LinkedIn, connect to people to your secondary degree. This is a totally different strategy, right? So maybe you can inspire them a bit. Like for example, if they embark on this digital strategy, digital HR strategy specifically, what kind of opportunities that's await them?
Okay. If you remember, there was a slide that we talked about. This one. Okay. Still remember? In fact, this whole flow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, represent the 5 most important work of HR. Performance review, learning and development, the cultural and office, compensation and benefits, and eventually hiring. The fun part is we have been talking and emphasizing a lot on the hiring, almost all the time. In fact, when you look at the whole thing, the first thing we should really spend more time really is top end, top down. From the performance review system, first you don't even think about improving. Of course, when we start talking about performance, we want to improve the performance. The first thing first, does everyone in the team feel that this is a fair system for them to be here? That is damn difficult, you know. The trust, the integrity of the system. So that's where we should actually spend our time. So come back to the digitalization of HR. How I see it is really when you come into all this 5 things, that's never changed from the old era to today, but you have more tools to do it. You have tools to help you to find talents from different channels. You have tools to support your C&B. There was also a company called Supply Card actually, can actually outsource your pantry, so you do not spend time. You just give them a budget every month. They help you to stock up your pantries, things like that. And when you have tools to support all those things, spend more of the time on performance and your people building. That is something that not little, but it really needs a lot of wisdom.
Are you seeing automation on the first point or performance reviews?
Performance.
Any sort of, well, I've seen sort of specialized stuff, but
Yeah.
cloud-based,
Yeah.
low entry price point. Has there been anyone
Yeah.
trying to disrupt?
Yeah, we do see lots of cloud-based performance system, but as what I've said, this is a tool. Tool is for automation. Tool is not helping you to really design your performance. What works in the company A may not work in the company B because you have different team, you have different people. The whole what makes every company different is because the people is different and DNA is different. And from the very beginning, the business model and the target segment could be different as well. That's why if you read the book called Innovator's Dilemma, it actually describes like in a couple of industry how the big companies cannot move to do the small company things, right? So they are so different because when you at different stage, different persons inside, then it's more an art than science. There are science effect way at the back to try to figure out what's the basic structure, but you need to keep tuning until you find the right optimization that works the best for your company. So the goal is really spend more time with it and don't expect that I buy a software and poof, all the performance management we're done. No such thing, right? So in fact, they will also tell you the same thing when they sell their software to you. Then they probably work with you on the consultancy and how to, build things up. But who knows the company better than you? Only yourself and your team, right? So a lot of time, really, can you afford to spend more time with this? Turn your HR from administrative role into strategic HR. So that's what today there was a colleague talking speaking to me on this and said in the good old days it's HR, right? I mean HR admin. Now it's more and more, there are more and more companies doing HR VP, business partners. So the HR really needs to goes into the business and understand the business and build things from there.
So it's not just administrative, hiring, recruiting, but try to align themselves at the board level as well.
So when way before hiring, so you probably want to see from your entire business perspective, right? What am I strong at? What's my barrier of entry? What is the part that making money? What's the part that I need to build new things, to try different things? So when only after you firm up this thing and plan it out, then you can structure back to different roles. And that may change every half a year to 1 year, depends on your size of the company. If you're a startup, you change faster. If you're at a bigger size company, maybe every year review. In Microsoft, the last time, when I was in Microsoft 10 years ago, the perfect time that time was 3 years. In the Microsoft Office engineering organization, every 3 years they will restructure. Redo. They restructured the entire organization to build new version of Office. So they first restructure, make everyone's is giving everyone to have an opportunity to try different things. And secondly, when you actually want to build next version of product, you restructure so that you can build according to what you want to do in the product, not according to what your organization limit and bottleneck for you to actually build up your value proposition to your customers. Of course, for smaller companies, when we talk about we haven't have a cash cow today yet, the first thing you should look at is still the business model canvas, whereby you can check on Google. There's a thing called business model canvas. It's from Stanford that how you actually draw business models on the diagram. the first thing first is always the customer segment. Who is your customer? Then the second thing is what do you want to give to your customer as a value? Then you borrow think about what do you want to build. And your organization structure is a result of what you want to give to customer. Not that it's an organization that, not that a product is a result of organization. But most of the time, product is a result of organization. So that's the interesting part behind it.
So it's kind of a customer-driven organization, right?
Yes. Or value proposition driven. What's the purpose of the company?
I think we can afford for one more question before we conclude it.
So how does Kakitangan do HR for their own employees differently?
Time for you to sell.
Our own employees differently. I was joking because when we start from small companies, small setup, when we started from an office space, not shop house and things, I renovated my storerooms, and then we locked everyone inside the storeroom without a window. And then we showed the t-shirt like this. My colleagues would love it. That's how sad it was. But the thing is, there's a few things that I personally emphasize a lot. I encourage everyone to talk openly. If people are hiding or people are fighting with another agenda behind, that's really bad. So, especially when we started our engineering is actually remote. So we built out the remote cadence, but when we start to build out the sales marketing support, then it becomes an office-based operations. We hope that we can actually help all our staffs to build their career here. That's the second thing. They don't see it today, but that's always in our mind.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for the session again. So